Hey everyone, it's Anne Ray coming to you live from San Francisco, California. And I just wanted to stop in and give a little bit of a lesson. A lot of artists are asking, what can we do now? And the good news is there's a lot that you can do now, and now is the best time than ever to actually go ahead and do it. So I'm just going to give a little brief lesson about what to do now. So give me a second and I will share my screen with you. And we're going to go over some things that are really important to understand. So, okay. Alrighty. So first things first, I want to acknowledge our current reality, right? Where we are right now, our current reality is we're in a time of uncertainty. So what this illustration represents is you'll notice a horizontal black line in the middle. That represents time. Time we have today in a box in the far left, and then we have an eventual settling on the far right. There is a principle called the law of seasons, right? And so what does that tell us? It means that the only thing that we can absolutely count on with 100% certainty is change. So however it looks like today, it is guaranteed that it's going to be different tomorrow and different again the day after and the day after and the day after. All things come in seasons or in cycles, and that is embedded into our physiology. It's embedded into our stock market. It's embedded into different markets. Everything comes in seasons, and everything is guaranteed to change. So today we are where we are, and what we have is we have a guaranteed time. Time is going to continue. This too shall pass. And eventually there's going to be a settling. So you'll also notice there is a dotted line that is vertical. That represents the time when things are going to settle down. That could be in 30 days, 90 days, 120 days. We actually don't know. But what we do know is that things will change and that this too shall pass. So let's just start with the current reality, right? And the way to really look at this is that, which would I would advise, is that you really have three options, and I'm gonna suggest that you choose the option that is most empowering and actually the most grounded in the most reality. So I read this quote this morning, which I really loved. I'd like to share it with you. Is learn from the past, set vivid, detailed goals for the future, and live in the only moment of time over which you have any control now. This is the only time you have control over, right? And if you think about the now, no matter what the circumstances, it's typically pretty good. It's actually not that bad. It's not that horrid. And that doesn't diminish all the things that are happening. But right now, are you okay? If you're looking at a computer and you have the time to learn about selling your art, things aren't too bad, right? So what I would like you to examine and do this exercise, I swear if you just do this exercise with me, it's actually going to put your perspective in a healthier place and a more empowered place. So I want you to focus on three things that you can control. What are the three things that you can control? Well, I mean, really simply, you can control watching this or not watching this, right? That's one thing. You can control your breathing, which has an effect on your physiology and your ability to think and focus, right? Take a deep breath. Right? That's another thing you can control. Gratitude. You can think of one thing you're deeply grateful for and why you're grateful for it. Those are things you have control over. Then there are things you can influence. You can't control them, but you can influence. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to influence you in a positive way, right? That's my mission. So I would right now write down three things that you can influence. So I'll give you an example. I can influence you, maybe not. I can influence my dog, right? I don't have complete control over her, but I've got a lot of influence. I have influence. I don't know. Let's see. Who else do I have influence over? I can influence anyone I come in contact with by just smiling and being nice, right? Opening the door, um, saying hello, right? Those are three areas where I have immediate positive influence. And then there's the third area, which is what you don't have control over, which is actually, you know, we can go on and on about that, right? We don't have control over when things are going to settle back down. We don't have control over whether or not someone buys our art. We have influence. And actually, I have students who are selling their art right in the middle of all of this while they're all under stay-at-home orders. Okay, they're actually selling their art. Um, so, but back to what we don't have control over. So, because you may think that you don't have control over selling your art, but I'm telling you, my students are actually selling their art. Now, are they all selling their art? No. The ones who are listening and doing the right things, they're selling their art. So, what do you not have control over? So, we don't have control over this virus. We don't have control over the general economy. We don't have control over people having a panic, right? We don't have control over it. We might have some influence by not spreading the fear, which is far more contagious than any virus. Those are things but we don't have control over, we have influence over, or we may have control. Distinguish between the two. Why am I going through this exercise? Because when you go through this exercise and you write the three things you have control over, the three things that you can have influence, and the three things that you got to let go of because you have no control over, the circle in the middle, the area where you have control, gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This is something I would really suggest you do every freaking day. So let's go to the next model that I want to share with you. Well, first of all, let's finish this one up. Okay. So the timeline is going to continue and you have three choices. So let's discuss those three choices. Number one, when it comes to selling and marketing your art, you can do absolutely nothing. That's a choice. That's an option. But if you do absolutely nothing, look at the red line. It's declining. And even after things come into a place where things are settling, you're still going to continue to decline. All right. I'm not trying to scare you. There's a saying, I don't say this to scare. I say this because I care. And I also want to share that there is good news. So hang on. The other option is to do kind of some things here and some things there, basically half-ass it, right? That's represented by the blue squiggly line. Bad news here too, because if you just kind of half-ass it, you're also going to decline. When this is over, you're going to be selling less art. Now you have a third option, which obviously I'm going to really suggest that you take a hold of the opportunities that are available now. There are actually opportunities available to you right now. Believe it or not. So you're not your customer. Art is purchased by the affluent. The affluent have money. They make money when the market is up. They make money when the market is down. They are literally licking their chops. And I can tell you on good authority that the affluent are much more generous with their time and their money than the average citizen. Newsflash, there's a lot of mythology that wealthy people are stingy and that they're money grubbing. And I'm sure that that's true in a lot of cases, but unfortunately, if that's just not the truth. It's actually a myth. I'm a student of the luxury market, and I can tell you they're generous. I was in a 2-day global conference with many very, very affluent people, and they told me that they were planning on buying art. A, because they want the meaning, and B, they want to support artists directly. Now, here's newsflash. They're not buying art from art galleries. They want to buy art from artists. And that's what I teach artists to do, is to sell directly. So right now is an opportunity like never before for artists, because here's what's going to happen. All the artists who've been doing well or been doing well enough, they're not going to do anything. They're going to follow that red line of decline. Then there are some who are going to try a few things here and there. They're still going to decline. All of you who do the right things, you're going to gain ground. Because when a market gets disrupted, that's what's happening now, It's actually an opportunity for people who provide value to gain ground. If people don't provide value, they lose ground. It's just simple economics. So, what do you need to do? Well, you really need to consider three things. You need to get very clear. So, in my program, in the Making Art, Making Money program, my students get very clear on their mission and more specifically, their target market, their niche, and they get very clear on the value that they offer. There's no confusion in their minds by the time they finish this program about what value they offer, and they come out on average, their level of focus and their level of confidence actually triples. So that's number one. You've got to get clear, and you got to get clear quickly. That goes over here to speed, bust a move. The longer you wait, the harder it is for you to catch up. And now's a perfect time because most of you, not all of you, are sitting at home. So it's a beautiful time to educate yourself and to join into a community of like-minded artists who are all helping each other out. And then of course you have to be effective. You try to do this by yourself, you're not going to be very effective. If you weren't very effective in the past, you're going to be even less effective going forward. So you need to have a proven roadmap. Now, with all of that, you can have that clarity, you can have that speed, and you can have effective tools and strategies, but you also need community because selling art by yourself is too hard, it's too lonely, and it's no freaking fun. So let me get into a model here that I think will help you. Now, what I want to point out is something that, remember I said before, you are not your customer? Well, you're not. You're not your customer. And this goes back to an illustration by Maslow's hierarchy of needs. All right. So physiological needs are obviously number one. Safety and security are number two, which is you may be in the orange zone, but you are not your customer. The affluent, okay, maybe a percentage of them, but most of them, the ones who buy art, are not necessarily in the safety and security zone. They're in the love and belonging zone. So why does that matter to you? Because what artists do is they serve a mission. They inspire. We don't sell goods or services. We sell emotion. Our job as artists is to help people connect with their humanity. And there's a whole lot of inspiration available right now. So your market, the affluent, they're in the love and belonging section. You're not your customer. I had an artist this morning, student of mine, I almost bit her head off because I care. That's why I almost bit her head off. She said, isn't it just slimy to sell my art right now? And I said, Jesus, what an idiotic and selfish statement. She has a beautiful, powerful mission that inspires people to tears. For her not to share that right now is selfish. And if you don't know your mission, you're going to need to figure it out. Because artists who succeed in this world, whether it's in history or currently, all serve a mission that's greater than themselves. They're not writing selfish, cringeworthy artist statements. They're serving a mission that is greater than themselves. And if you don't know your mission, you can find it out. You can figure it out. We teach this in the Making Art, Making Money program, and everyone has a purpose and a corresponding mission. Everybody does. So this is what I want you to focus on, is understanding you are not your customer and that people are actually buying art right now. My students who are hustling and bust and move and doing what I say about speed and clarity and effectiveness and drawing upon a supportive community, they're making it work. So let's take this pyramid and we're going to expand it out. So if you look at the middle triangle, it has two words in bold, faith and fear. There's a lot of fear right now. What's the opposite of fear? It's actually faith. Why do you feel fearful, or why do people feel fearful? Because they're consuming fear through headlines, right? Or other people's stories. But you're an artist, you're a creator. So to get away from the polarity of fear, you have to create faith. That's where artists are celebrated. This is where artists are elevated. So understand that that triangle in the middle represents your mindset. Your success is 80% psychology, it's 20% strategy. I can teach strategy all day long, but if your psychology isn't right, you won't get it. You won't ingest it. All right? So this is why I start with this. So there's 3 things you have to do as an artist today, and I mean today. And if you are interested in applying to enroll in the program, go to makingartmakingmoney.com. And if I think I can help you, we'll set up an application call. Um, and then if seems after that call, I believe I feel I have confidence that I can help you, then we will set up a pivot strategy call. And we're going to talk about some of these things because there's 3 things you need to do. Number 1, you need to pivot. Number 2, you need to protect you need to profit. You need to make money. And number 3, you got to protect, right? So let's start with pivot. Number 1, let's look at reality. Maybe your art sales have declined. Maybe they've stopped altogether. Okay. By the way, I want to be clear about my audience. I have helped artists who have never sold their art. Certainly. Kadishi Singh in London sold like 23 pieces during her first exhibition. But people who've never sold their art are typically not my students. You're welcome to schedule an application call. And if I think I can help you, we can talk. But typically that's not the case. You're still welcome to apply, but I want to be clear about who I can best help because I can't help everybody. So if the reality is for you that your art sales have declined or they've stopped, let's deal with that reality. So here's what you need to do. You need to create new marketing. Now, please understand that marketing is very different from sales. The best analogy I can offer is that marketing is really all marketing is about starting a conversation. That's what marketing is. Starting a conversation with your potential target market, potential tribe or group of, people who would be likely to buy your art. Not guaranteed, but more likely to. Sales is about having that conversation on a one-on-one level with one of those prospects. Does that make sense? So art sales have declined, you need new marketing. So I'm going to be actually launching a whole new course that's going to be available. And then if students want to continue and learn, they can then roll into the Making Art, Making Money program. But I'm going to bolt this on to the front end because we want to deal with what's happening right now. So number 1, you got to gain referrals, but you got to know what you're doing. Gaining referrals is critically important because on average, referral sales, which means just in case that sounds kind of jargony. So let me break that down. A referral sale means that someone introduces you to friends or family someone who've purchased art from you, or maybe they haven't purchased art from you, but they know you, they like you, and they trust you. So they introduce you to someone who's in their circle. That person already has some trust about you because you've had a personal introduction or a referral. Those referrals are more likely to generate a sale than if you're talking to someone you just met. So that's the power of referrals. Referrals generate over 80% of more sales. That's a broad average where you keep 100% of the money. Now, if you're working with an art gallery, I want to be really clear. The chances are that they're going to close. So if you're represented by an art gallery, you want to apply to enroll in the Making Art, Making Money program quickly. Again, it's not to scare, it's because I care. When we had the most recent recession in 2007 and 2008, the estimates are that over half of the art galleries within the United States anyway, closed their doors. Now, during that time, I actually thrived. So I've weathered this before. I'm not scared. And because I'm not scared, you should listen to what I'm saying because I've been through a very similar, not the same, but a very similar cycle. And referrals was key to my success. Number 2, but you do have to know what you're doing because you don't want to come across as pushy or slimy. You don't ever want to feel icky, ever, 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 ever. If you feel icky, then the person on the other end is going to feel icky, right? So number two, you have to be able to share your mission. Now, if you don't know your mission, trust me, you can absolutely learn it, but you have to be able to share your mission, right? Instead of trying to sell. So what's different about artists is we don't sell goods and we don't sell services. We inspire. Our product is actually emotion. So the second pivot that you have to make, and you have to make it quickly, is you have to learn what your mission is and how to share it. And trust me, it's a beautiful thing. It's a very authentic thing. It's a very organic and natural thing. There is nothing salesy or manipulative about it, because if there was, it wouldn't work. So the third thing you've got to do to pivot, and quickly, is you've got to create more value. I don't believe in selling art. I think selling art sucks. But what I do believe and what I do know, and what I've proven time and time again, is when you create clear value above and beyond your art in service to your mission, that does two things. It increases your sales and allows you to charge more. Okay. And you inspire people. So that's the pivot. That's the third piece of the pivot. Now let's go to profit. That's a popular one, right? Now, profit, so right now you can't sell in person. Now that's going to eventually change, but that's the way it is right now. So we got to deal with right now. So what does that mean? It means you got to create virtual sales venues. So I interviewed a musician who's making more money now than he ever has before. And he's like, I wish the hell I would have thought of these strategies before. But the thing is, he didn't have to. And this is how the disruption really does generate opportunities and inspires creativity and ingenuity. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a completely bad thing. There's some parts of it that are horrible, but there are some parts of it for every single, painful and loss. There's an equal for every bad thing. There's an equal benefit somewhere. You've got to look for it. So let's talk about some virtual sales venues. Well, I have had students who are selling effectively on Instagram. They're not paying for ads. They're not experts, but they are generating sales. They're also generating sales on the Facebook marketplace. And then last but not least, you can use Zoom, which is a free tool. You can hold virtual art receptions, and something I teach inside of the Making Art, Making Money program is appreciation parties, which are 10 times more effective than a freaking art reception. I always used to joke that the only people who come to art receptions are the cheese eaters, the ones who drink your wine and eat your cheese. They don't buy a damn thing. So I don't really believe in art receptions. I should take that off of there. I think I'm leaving it on there because most artists think art reception, where I don't actually believe in art receptions. And most artists think artist statement. I don't believe in artist statements. I think sharing my mission, right? So anyway, protect is the last one, right? So right now you've got no roadmap. We've never been in this space before. Here's the great news, everybody. The 8-part roadmap within the Making Art, Making Money program has already been battle tested, and it's already working. All right. My students are already using it in this environment, in this market environment. So you either going to continue to try to operate without any roadmap, or you're going to get informed support. Now, within what is informed support, what the hell does that mean, right? It means 3 things. Number 1, you've got to have community. You have to have a like-minded, supportive community who is informed and inspired and are, they are actively working to sell and market their art. Number 2, you've got to decipher between the difference between spending money and investing money. And it's really simple. Spending money takes money away. Investing money makes you money, right? So engaging in education right now is the best thing you can do. It's the best place you can put your money, because it's going to pay dividends going forward. And then last but not least, I touched on this earlier, you're going to gain ground. You're going to protect your ability to sell your art as a part-time or a full-time artist by gaining ground in this environment. because all of the artists who just are writing artist statements and waiting for a show from their art gallery, I mean, you know, they're not going to make it. And it's sad, but it's true. So I have to tell you, you're just not going to make it. If you think that art galleries are going to save your ass, they're not. You are 100% responsible for your success, and you need help. You can't do it by yourself. So you got to pivot, you got to profit, and you got to protect. And in the middle there, please remember, you can consume faith, or you can you can consume fear, or you can create faith. It's really your choice. I hope this was helpful. Please leave a comment below. If you're watching this live, let me know. If you're watching the replay, let me know. And if you want help, just go to makingartandmakingmoney.com. You'll see a chat window in the lower right. And what we'll do is I will send you an application form. If I feel like I can help you, I will let you know. If I don't feel like I can help you, then I'll just try to point you in the right direction. I'm not trying to sell this to everyone. I don't want your money if I can't help you. If I feel I can help you, I'll let you know. And so if you feel like you're ready to help yourself, please apply. We have a beautiful community. It's smart. People are kind, they're intelligent, and they really care. So, and I care too. You know, if you have a question, let me know. You can tag me. I'm happy to help. My intention is to lead artists through this situation and get you to the other side. I believe that it's absolutely possible to do this. And I'm really proud of my students. I'm seeing them do it, which gives me inspiration that I'm really eager to share. I'm going to be putting out a video that shares some of these examples. All right, everyone, I hope this was helpful. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon. I will be back on air at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm spotlighting current students and past students. It's an excellent way